Marriage Restraint Act 1929. The Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929 is also known as the Sharda Act. It is an Indian law that prohibits the marriage of children under the age of 18. The act was passed in response to concerns about the harmful effects of child marriage. This includes high maternal and infant mortality rates, low educational attainment, and increased risk of domestic violence. Background of Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929. In the past, there were several attempts to pass laws to determine the minimum age for consent in India, but all of them were successful. To address this issue, the Joshi Committee was formed to recommend the appropriate age for marriage and consent for both males and females in India. Different organizations like the All India Women's Conference, Women's Indian Association, and the National Council of Women in India supported raising the age for marriage and consent, and they expressed their views to the Joshi Committee. Muslim women also advocated for increasing the age limit for marriage despite facing opposition from Muslim religious scholars. Eventually, on 26 June 1929, the Joshi Committee presented its report, which the Imperial Legislative Council later approved on 28 September 1929. This report became law on 1st April 1930 after receiving the approval of Lord Irwin, the Viceroy of India at the time. This law is also known as the Child Marriage Restraint Act, commonly referred to as the Sharda Act. Aim and objective of the Child Marriage Restraint Act. The objective of the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929 are as follows. The primary objective of this act is to prevent the solemnization of marriages involving underage children. The act aims to protect the rights and well-being of children by prohibiting their marriage at a young age. The act encourages children's education by discouraging child marriage. It recognizes that early marriages often hinder educational opportunities for children, especially girls. It seeks to ensure that individuals entering into marriage can give informed consent, thereby safeguarding their rights and autonomy. The Act establishes legal consequences for those who solemnize, arrange, or participate in child marriages. It aims to deter such practices by imposing penalties and punishments. It aims to promote a shift in societal attitudes and practices towards recognizing the importance of a child's well-being and development. Features of the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929. The Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929 sets the minimum age of marriage as 18 years for females and 21 years for males, aiming to prevent underage marriages. It imposes penalties on those who perform, take part in, or facilitate child marriage. This includes imprisonment and fines to deter such practices. Marriages solemnized in violation of the Act are voidable at the option of the minor, providing legal recourse for those subjected to underage marriages. The Act allows for exceptions in certain circumstances, such as where the marriage is contracted by a minor with the consent of the appropriate authority specified in the law. Officials, including magistrates and police officials, are empowered to prevent and report instances of child marriages, ensuring enforcement of the Act. This Act emphasizes the importance of raising awareness about the harms of child marriage and promoting education, especially for girls, to empower them and prevent underage unions. The Act had undergone amendments over the years to strengthen its provision and address emerging challenges related to child marriage, reflecting evolving societal norms and legal standards. Significance of the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929. The Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929 is a landmark law in India. It has played a significant role in reducing the prevalence of child marriage and protecting the rights of children. Here are some of the key significances of the Act. It raised the legal age of marriage for girls from 14 to 18. This was a significant step towards ensuring that girls have the opportunity to complete their education. It ensures that they reach their full potential before getting married. It prohibited child marriage irrespective of the religion or community of the parties involved. This protected all children from the harmful effects of child marriage regardless of their background. It imposed penalties on those who perform, conduct, or direct child marriages. This helped to deter people from engaging in this practice. It raised awareness about the harms of child marriage and the importance of girls' education. This created a supportive environment for girls and their families to choose to delay marriage until they were ready. Limitation of the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929. The Act faces challenges in terms of implementation and enforcement, particularly in remote and marginalized communities. Deep-rooted societal norms, customs, and cultural traditions often contribute to the persistence of child marriage. This makes it difficult to eradicate solely through legal measures. The lack of accurate birth registration system poses a challenge in verifying the age of the individuals. This makes it easier for child marriages to go unnoticed and unaddressed. Insufficient awareness and education about the harmful consequences of the child marriage among communities, parents, and potential victims hinders the effectiveness of the act.